You are listening to 4Geeks podcast. We talk about business, technology, and provide advice on how entrepreneurs can grow their companies. Hope you enjoyed this conversation.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 4Geeks podcast. I'm Sergio, I'm CTO at 4Geeks, and with me is, as always, Alan. Alan, how are you?
Hey Sergio, I'm fine. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this new episode on the 4Geeks podcast.
Nice. It's been a while since we started this podcast, right? And we have talked about different topics, and today we are going to talk about a new brand topic at this podcast, and it's DevOps. Yep. But we are not going through the real definition of DevOps. We can discuss it later. But today I want to talk about the continuous cycle that we handle all of our projects at 4Geeks, okay? But first I want to mention that we have some important content about DevOps that our listeners can check whenever they want. And you can find those resources on their 4geeks.io/webinars and also on their 4geeks.io/blog.
Yeah, by the way, sorry Sergio, by the way, you can subscribe on the newsletter and you can receive when a new webinar or when a new blog is live, okay?
Okay, even better.
Yeah.
And where I can subscribe?
Well,
where?
I think the URL is 4geeks.io/subscribe. Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Okay, perfect. No, that's fine. So, really quickly, I want to mention that DevOps is for those who doesn't know what is DevOps. I want to mention that quickly. DevOps is a culture and a philosophy it's a way of doing software development and software delivering. So basically, DevOps is built with different steps or different cycles over the process of the process delivering in a product. So basically, in a blog we have this an image and everything to be more specific on what the cycle is, and graphically with images and something like that. But I want to mention that the first step of the endless continuous DevOps cycle is plan. And plan what we are going to build in the next stage, or what we're going to release for the next quarter or whatever. So there's different tools. But do you want to go about the planning stuff? What we do, or what do you do in your daily work with planning?
Well, that exactly you say, Sergio. In planning we make all the job planning, and we organize all the team for making small features, and then we merge every single features, and that makes a single product. That's the way. So we have some tools, or we have some ways to organize all the ideas, to organize all the teams, because we don't know how big will be a team. Can be a small team, or can be a medium team, or can be a huge team. So there is some tools of some tools that we can use. For example, Jira, for example, Slack, or for example, GitHub pages. Maybe you can detail more a little about that.
Yeah, sure. So Jira is about the planning and notification about which features or work have to be done by the end of a sprint, or by the end of the next cycle for the DevOps loop. So basically in Jira we can have tickets, and we have all the team there that they can check their daily work. They can check what are the tasks, and also what in the tickets, you know, the QA or the product owner person have to detail what the ticket is about, the acceptance criterions, all the resources needed for the developer to create or to work on that ticket. Jira is you have to pay for Jira, and it's kind of expensive, but it's an amazing tool. In Jira, you can have all the documentation, all the ticket handling, even for your end customers.
And it's a cars like or how works Jira exactly? I mean, cause
the billing and stuff, or
no, the management task. I mean the visual management task. Cause Trello is another work, is another tool, and Jira just acquired.
Not
Trello.
Jira, Atlassian.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, basically, Trello is a very lightweight version of Jira.
But it's for free, right?
Yeah, it's for free, and we can use it. Actually, if you are building a startup and you are starting, there's no need to actually pay for Jira. You can set up a Trello, and you can, for free, start creating tickets.
Yeah.
But Jira is more than that. Because, for example, let's imagine that in the ticket you can add box, you can attach different tasks, subtasks, you can link task to, and you can merge it with code reviews, with testing suites, and a lot of things. So Jira, it's a complete world. It's more than what I can mention here. We will need a podcast or a webinar for using Jira. It's very huge, and we work together using Jira with Slack, for example.
Yeah.
Slack is a communication tool where all the team can be together, and you can have different channels for different specific things, even for water cooler, even for a book club or whatever you want to have the team in other non-work related topics, you know, and you can have your main channel for work discussions, like as staff and as guidance or whatever. And actually something we really appreciate as developers is to have a channel where, for example, GitHub or GitLab and Jira work in Slack, because we can have notifications about when a code review is triggered.
Yeah, we can set up bots.
Yeah, or when a ticket is assigned to me and whatever you can create. So Slack is good at communication tools. We really like it. Actually, 4Geeks as a company is working on Slack. And different products we are creating for our customers are using Slack as well. And GitHub Pages is like a Trello, actually. So I don't want to go detail with it. Now, after planning is the funny part, coding. So there's a lot of tools or a lot of different things we have to take in consideration when coding, and it's, for example, the different repositories like GitHub, like GitLab. Where do I want to store the code? I think you have to say something about GitLab. I know GitLab because of you. So, do you like GitLab or GitHub?
Well, I started in GitHub. I next moved to Bitbucket.
Yeah, I think GitHub is like the default, right?
Yeah. But when I meet GitLab, I really love it. I really love it because they are doing a very good work with with the company with GitLab, and I love it. I love it because I can have a private project, and I can invite unlimited developers, and I can invite unlimited members, and that's pretty good. By the way, GitLab is now part of Microsoft. I don't know if
GitHub.
GitHub, sorry, yeah, GitHub.
There was oh my God, no.
No, GitHub, guys, GitHub. GitHub is now part of Microsoft, and I don't know if we will to talk about GitHub again.
Yeah.
Like a big monster or
but you know,
or like
$7.5 billion of dollars.
Yep,
That's
7.5
amount of money. But yeah, I agree with you about GitLab, because I think GitLab is doing a great job with the DevOps. You know, we are very, very, very into DevOps philosophy, and I think GitLab is doing an excellent job on that. And there's a lot of webinars, there's a lot of integrations they are doing with Kubernetes, with Google, with CI, CD, in order to help us on the DevOps cycle. So, but there is GitHub has a lot of open source project, I think, and maybe they are like scared with the Microsoft buy it, but I don't know. And have you ever used Subversion sometime, Alan?
Have you used Subversion? No, I haven't.
Have you? No.
No,
Okay.
Never.
I used Subversion once, and I'm so happy that Git exists. Really, Subversion was like difficult to work with, but I think there's some projects using Subversion too.
I think
WordPress, if you want,
WordPress,
when you create a plugin, you have to use Subversion.
Yeah, I think WordPress. I think what WordPress required that we push all the code in the Subversion.
In the Subversion,
branch.
yeah. Okay, well, with the repositories and all the code management, and well, with GitHub and GitLab, you can actually create some nice code reviews in order to our developers check all the code and integrate with continuous integration tools in order to review it. So that's something really nice. They both doing a great job. Now with the coding visual part, like the IDEs, there's a lot of out there. So we cannot mention everything. So there's something like Visual Studio, Atom, and also Vim for those who wants to create code like warriors using Vim. So there's people who use Vim. Now, when we code, what's the next step?
Sergio, talking again about the coding part.
Okay.
Have you used the web editors? I mean, code editors on cloud, on web?
No, not on. I recall.
Do you?
I mean, we use it.
Trust using that cloud-based editors?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it.
Why?
Because I want to have everything on my computer. Now it's like something personal. Maybe we can talk with Ivan after the podcast, because he likes to, or he liked to use a tool that runs on the cloud. Well, there's some good things there that you don't have to set up local environment and all the things, but I've never done that before.
Yep. Okay, Sergio. Let's go to the next step, and is building and all the packaging and the final steps to publish the code to the code live, to the store like App Store or Google Play Store or whatever, any other live server. But in that stage, we have some tools that help us help us to verify every single code line, and every single function and every single character that we put in the code. But Sergio, maybe we can tell more about I don't know, about Travis CI or Jenkins
or Circle CI or the all CIs out there. And yeah, the building part is important because this is where you will check that the syntax, that the test, that everything is there and it's working, and you have the automation approval of something. So going back to GitHub or GitLab, you can integrate some building tools like Jenkins or Travis. Actually, Circle CI has some partnership with GitHub to run natively.
That's what I love GitLab.
Yeah, the continuous integration. So that's really cool. That's really amazing. And earlier, I found out a lot of threads talking about GitHub and Circle CI. That was really cool.
But what exactly continuous integrations? What it means?
Continuous integration is making sure you have everything set up for your project. I mean, your project is compiling, your project is working or behaving correctly with the environment, your code has passed the test, your code is well packaged, all the requirements, all the things you can imagine before going live happens on this continuous integration.
Okay.
Is to have all the project prepared to put it in production or to move it. So, for example, when we do a code review in GitHub or GitLab, for example, a continuous integration tool will be Fire, and will check everything. So the developers can automatically check if the other partner code is working or not.
Okay.
So it's like to have a server running different scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what continuous integration is. So, like you said, Travis CI, Circle CI, Jenkins allow us to do it. So there's a lot of out there, and we can check all of them, and we can create a list or something like that later. And I want to, or I like to put Docker in this stage, because for me is where Docker is. It's about packaging. It's about having everything in one single container in this case. So Docker for me is another amazing stuff, and I would like you to invite me some Docker podcast, because I'm a huge fan about Docker, and we can talk more or deeper into Docker structure and everything about Docker.
Okay.
So basically, Docker is like to a virtual machine where you have all the specifications of your project. So let's say you're building a Ruby on Rails application. You can download a specific Ruby on Rails image from Docker, and they do everything. You just have to put the project, and that's it. Voila! It's like magic. So I think many projects have to run on Docker now.
How many we can reduce reduce time by using Docker versus not using Docker in a project for example, a new employee or
Totally
or migrations or
updates.
Yeah.
You know, and someday happened that, for example, an update on the firewall main core just break down all the system because the updates were not, or the project were not prepared for updates. So what happened there? So we lost some minutes going live. So it was a long story. Okay. But with Docker, we can avoid that. With Docker, they handle all the updates. There is no miscommunication with the server, and we use it's like a virtual machine, like I said. So imagine that we have a project with 4 people, and we are growing, and we need to add 2 more people. Well, we have to almost spend 1 day to environment setting up. We have to spend some time because in the typical word is like, oh, but it's not working my machine. Why in yours is working? And there can be a lot of things like libraries, configurations, operating system.
At least 2 lost days, man.
Yeah, days as well. Yeah, no, it's a headache, a total headache. So basically, I think this is the main tangible feature of Docker. It's the saving time.
Okay.
Saving time, because if you have 2 new developers, you just send them the images, and that's it. Okay. You run it, and they have everything. There's no, again, it's not working in my machine. Even in the local and productions, they both are the same images.
Okay.
They just change local variables or environment variables, and that's it. Okay. So Docker is something really nice, and there's a lot of big opportunities there and advantages for sure.
Awesome, great. Okay, Sergio, going to the next step, and I think it's a very, very important step for keeping all the data, the integrated data. It's
Sure.
about test or testing, you know.
It's about testing.
Yeah. How do you deal with testing in a common product development?
Yeah. So something I want to highlight here is that the end of the DevOps cycle is to automate process. Uh-huh. So some process, I see that it's really impacted into the DevOps cycle is testing, because we used to manual testing a lot, and the risk of human error is huge. You know, we are humans; we can fail anytime. So, with testing in the DevOps, the idea is to automate this process.
Okay.
It's a long and it's a pain process. It's a long process. So create code from scratch to testing is difficult when all the process is not used to work with automation, with testing automation. So basically, there's a lot of set of tools we can use, but the starting point is Selenium, because Selenium is a framework to interact with browsers, with web applications, in order to reproduce customer actions. Like the first thing we can do with Selenium is a login page. Mm-hmm. So Selenium will interact with our browser and will with like a robot to click on the different buttons, fill out the different forms, and all the stuff.
So we need to program a Selenium bot, for example.
Yeah,
we need to program a Selenium bot, and the bot will review every single code or every single function. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I said. That it's a long process.
Okay.
Because it's a separate development. You will have to need a specific team doing automation QA, writing code, because automation is to write code. Mm-hmm. With manual, you don't need that, but with automation you do. So. Okay. That's basically what Selenium is. It's a huge and the starting point, as I said, and we can then mix it with Cucumber, like is to that runs automated tests written in behavior-driven development. So it's basically the behavior-driven development is about how the user interacts with the system. So it's more like, okay, I go here, I go there. It's not at code level or a strict level. It's more like a fluent way to test. Okay, as I said, like an end user. And and some configuration I like because I've worked before in the past with some projects using Cucumber, Selenium, and also SauceLab. SauceLabs is a really huge platform where the testing and all the applications can run and can like run all the smoke tests, the regression test, the normal test, whatever test you want to put there, you can run there. So they will create virtual machines with the different browsers, and they will record everything.
Okay.
So if something fails, they will send you an email with the failing steps, with a video and everything. It's amazing because you just need to go and confirm that.
Yeah, I think it runs on cloud, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like Browser Stack. I think it's more Browser Stack is famous than SauceLab, but Browser Stack is doing a great job too. But SauceLab has, for me, is stronger on how they can provide.
We need to pay an extra license for using Selenium, or for using Cucumber, or for using SauceLab?
But for using SauceLab, yeah.
Okay.
It is expensive.
Okay.
So we will need some
Selenium,
good budget for that.
Are open projects.
Yeah, sure. If you have in your local Selenium and Cucumber, you can start running locally, and for example, Selenium will trigger your browser, your local browser. So there's no problem with that. But SauceLab or Browser Stack, you have to pay for sure.
Great. Okay, Sergio, go ahead to the next step. That is release and deploy. What about release and deploy? I mean,
well, we got nervous that
when we done with planning, coding, building, testing. Now we are in release and deploy. What we need to do?
Okay, well, it's not that easier, right? Than just put your folder in your server and that's it. No, so there's different tools for sending the code and putting everything in your server, like Capistrano, which is a nice tool for running scripts on multiple servers that, well, is mainly used for deploying applications. But with Capistrano, you can run migrations, you can run updates on libraries, and you can run whatever script you can imagine. There's also XL Release, which is, or deploy as well. They provide both, and they do the same. They create all the infrastructure for the releasing process, checking and analyzing the process of the deployment, like to have a record of what our system is doing when deploy, and Octopus Deploy, which is exactly the same. But if we work with Kubernetes and we work with App Engine or Elastic Beanstalk, they provide some tools for deploying, and with Capistrano we can merge that, and we can have a more stronger infrastructure when deploying.
Okay. Sergio, and the releasing and deploy stage, how do you deal with the database migrations? I mean, making an update to your SQL or your Oracle or your MySQL schema?
Yeah, that's difficult, and it totally depends on the project. Because there's some projects or some migrations that you just add a new field, for example. So those migrations are not that difficult because you are just adding a new field and that's it. But there are some migrations like you have to transform data or to process data to get new data. Those are the difficult ones, and I think the best thing we can do here is like to have automated with the DevOps. We have the automated process, and we create the running scripts with Capistrano. We have everything, and we can trigger the process at midnight, for example.
Yeah.
With no humans, with no everything, with a rollback plan or a script well set, and I think that the ideal world, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to have someone at midnight like clicking and making sure everything is correct. No, the idea is to have everything automated. So with all this DevOps cycle well defined, you can put your system down at some point and trigger a maintenance page, so users won't be able to go through the database. So you can trigger the system there, and that's it. So it totally depends. But with a huge migration, with a huge scripting or data transforming stuff, I will suggest to do it. To do that. Sorry, to put the system down and have everything automated and well tested, right?
Yeah. Well,
and with a rollback plan, we never know.
In that point, I think Django framework fixed that because Django generate and runs automatically migrations, for any database, for SQL, for MySQL, for Oracle, for Postgres, for whatever. So you don't need to downgrade or putting down your server for a long time. Well, Sergio, the next step for these conversations and this DevOps tool and DevOps cycle is the operating. We have some notes here. We have some notes, and in this note we wrote about PaaS and about IaaS and about how that infrastructure can help us to operate continually projects. For example, Amazon Elastic Beanstalk or Google App Engine. There is a PaaS. And what do I need to say?
Yeah, no. This is where the development and the operations merge. This is where operations are expert, but we need to our developers become expert in this area too. So there's from configuration stuff, we can talk about Puppet or about Chef. They are both configuration management tools for creating the configuration and maintaining all the product needs on libraries, on the basic configuration like variables and all this stuff. So with Chef and Puppet, we can do that. This is for configuration. And other important part of operating is which cloud platform we are using, where our servers are. Rackspace, DigitalOcean, Google, AWS, where? So this is where the platform as a service or the infrastructure as a service merge or combine. So with Amazon and Google, we have talked about a lot of Google and Amazon lately, and there's different things we can use there, like the compute engine or like a normal server, the App Engine, the Elastic Beanstalk, and all the stuff we know. And then it's something really cool about the orchestration of our containers. And if we go back on what I said about the Docker, we will need to orchestrate those containers to put more containers, to downgrade our quantity of containers and whatever. And Kubernetes and Rancher does that. They are both differently, and I personally, I prefer Kubernetes. They are doing a good job, and today they are 4 years old. 4 years Kubernetes. So
Very new.
they are pretty new, but they have grown a lot, and now Google has an eye on Kubernetes. So Google is running natively Kubernetes. Under the hood, App Engine it's doing some Kubernetes, and they have custom Kubernetes implementations on Google. So this is where Operate resides: the configuration, the server as the tangible thing, and the how to orchestrate all the container stuff.
Yep, and all the between tools like DNS, for example,
Exactly.
or cloud balancing,
Load balancing.
or networks, firewalls, and
This is on the operated.
yeah, and that stuff will be managed by those tools, for example, Amazon or Google. Yeah, exactly. Okay, next step, Sergio.
And the final one, I think.
The final one. It's about the monitor and checking that all the previous work is running and it's okay and the health is green, you know.
Yeah, if we don't metric, we are screwed. Yeah. That's the final thought, I think.
Yeah, we need to metric.
And if we can metric everything, we can grow. We can check where our worst work are, and we can improve our project. So there's different tools as well, and in all the stages. But I want to mention here NetGeos and New Relic. New Relic is
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I've never used it.
Yeah,
I have used New Relic, so I was going to talk about New Relic, but go ahead.
I have used NetGeos. And it's 100% for Vikings, because you need to install all the dependents and all the requirements from scratch in a Linux server.
Okay.
And that NetGeos will manage and will monitor all your database and all your memory and your process. And they will ensure that all your server it's okay for running your application at every specific moment.
Nice.
And if not just find an issue, for example, it can send an email. It can send an email, or it can send you a text, SMS text.
Yeah, I think it works just
Similar,
like New Relic, because New Relic,
sure.
well, actually in one with
NetGeos
one.
is for free.
Okay, that's different.
NetGeos is for free.
Okay, well, with New Relic you can integrate with Slack and different notifications as well on emails. But yeah, both are almost the same. They both report how our project is running and that's it. I think that's it. So the key part here on monitor is like to have metrics and to improve, I think.
Okay, cool. What's next, Sergio?
Okay, well, basically that's it. That's all the DevOps endless cycle. This is with no end, right? So we do it every day, every time. So that's it. I think you can reach out to us if you need some guidance or if you want to integrate those or these tools into your product. We love to bring DevOps philosophy into products and into projects and to process, because we really think DevOps is like giving an extra mile into the project. So I think that's it. So we will definitely go through different DevOps topics around this podcast, and I will be happy to share here again.
Or if you have any suggestions, or if you just want to discuss about about we have talked about, just go to 4geeks.io and contact us. That's it.
Yeah, sure. I think we are really open to talk about different stuff, to provide guidance and everything. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for be there listening this episode. We'll be back on next week.
Sure. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you, Sergio. Bye.
You can subscribe from the podcast tapped on your device so you can listen to the latest episodes. Don't forget to rate us. That helps us reach out to more people. If you want to get the best out of your business, feel free to contact us at 4geeks.io/contact.